999.
Your friend in Central Illinois. WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Curt Homann is the Executive Director of the DeWitt County Development Council. Good morning, Curt.
Good morning, Seth.
How many hats do you wear? You're the Executive Director of DCDC, the Hospital Foundation, the Farmer City Fair Board.
Yep.
What else do you like? Seriously, how do you have time for this stuff?
I don't. I honestly don't. and my wife reminds me of that. But I have other hats too. I promise.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. Good grief. Anyways, we appreciate you making time for us. How did the fair go, by the way?
Actually, when the weather was perfect, our attendance was up this year.
You guys beat the heat by a few days too, right?
The heat, which is invariably it's always the hottest week of the year when we have the fair, but this year we missed it, and we were thankful for that, of course. But
sure.
But attendance was up and good. Had a huge crowd for a Queen pageant night, horse racing night. It was a great crowd as well.
Now, do you still do the chili cook-off and all those things?
So they did away with the chili cook-off a few years ago, but they do a chicken and beef cook-off as well, so that's always fun and tasty.
Nice. Yeah, for sure. It smells good.
It smells fantastic.
Adds to the atmosphere. Absolutely. Well, hey, Curt, I know we need to dive into DCDC business here because that's why you're in, obviously. But I got a notice the other day that REV Grants. It's REV Grant time. Let's talk about this morning.
Absolutely, and it's always such a fun time. Giving away money is fantastic. We love that. And so the REV Grant time deadline applications are September 15th. So that's going to be here before everybody knows it. But the REV Grant is a partnership with First National Bank and Trust, and they're great community partners in a lot of ways. But this REV Grant program is certainly one of those. So there's $15,000 that's set aside for this program. Again, applications 9/15. It is an in-person presentation, and that'll be in November 9th. Okay. So if you apply, make sure you're available November 9th because you'll need to do that.
Okay.
And it's a way to earn up to $15,000. So it could go to one business. Typically, that gets split between multiple businesses.
Where does this money come from?
First National Bank actually kicks in all the money for this program. So
now where does DCDC come in then?
DCDC fits in. We will I've met with applicants in the past before they turn them in and help them through applications. DCDC judges the competition in partnership with First National Bank, but there's a lot of DCDC representation there as well. I encourage there's some businesses that I know are in the works, or I know that have some upcoming plans, so I'll encourage them to apply for that, as I encourage everybody to apply for it.
But, that's kind of where some of the things I wanted to go to next. The next question, though, is where do folks go to apply? How do they get more information on this?
So we, on our Facebook page, we just shared a First National Bank post as of yesterday, and but they can go directly through our Facebook page through DeWitt County Development Council, or they can go to First National Bank and Trust Facebook page, or they can go to the First National Bank and Trust website.
Okay.
And then application is on there. But the link to that application and details are all on those three sources for sure. And I'm actually I'll update our website, our DCDC website, with that by the weekend as well. So
yeah, sure. So maybe there's businesses out there listening this morning, Curt, that are interested.
Correct.
What would you tell them about the process of applying? What's the application like? How about that?
So the first warning is don't wait until the last minute to do it. So the applications that come in, there is definitely a distinct difference in the applications that come in the last hour where people have rushed through it. So it's something you want to jump into early. Make sure you have the information, get it all there. If a lot of information is missing, you're not going to make the cut, most likely to present.
What kind of information do you need?
There's a 3-page application. There is a little bit of financial documentation that comes in with that. It does not go to the DCDC board. It actually goes to First National Bank and Trust, and they keep all of that internal. So it is not shared. It's not shared with anyone. So they have one specific person that basically makes sure that the business is on on solid ground, or at least,
Mhm.
it's not having significant problems that wouldn't be able to follow through with
Yeah.
the grant
Mhm.
request.
Sure. So the grant gets submitted. What kind of happens next then?
Yeah. So First National Bank, internally, their internal people review the applications, and there will be it'll be up to 5 finalists
Mhm.
that they'll decide,
Mhm.
and they will come in and do a live pitch,
Mhm.
and basically a short 10 to 20-minute presentation
Mhm.
on why their business should be selected to receive some funds, and tell us about the project and how they're going to use the funds,
Mhm.
how that'll benefit the business, how that'll benefit the community,
Mhm.
or those types of things.
Does
So
it have to be an existing business?
um, it 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 needs to be. I would say if someone is starting a business, so the answer is there needs to be something established. I'll
Mhm.
put it that way.
Okay.
So, if there's something that is pretty far in the works, or there's some changes that'll happen with the bit. So I'm really thinking of a business that's been in existence, and are getting ready to move to a new location or something
Mhm.
along those lines. Absolutely, that
Maybe
needs to
like some
be
expansion of
some
some sort.
expansion or
Mhm.
those types of things. If it's really just a vision at this point, and the thinking as well, if I get some money, maybe I'll try this, then they won't make the qualification to get there.
Okay.
So
Sure.
I if it's going to be a new business, it needs to be really pretty far along with detailed plans and detailed commitment, and some financial resources and reserves, and
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
types of things. But pretty typically it is an existing business that has a need, that need, whatever it is, could be a piece of equipment, it could be some marketing tools, it could
Mhm.
be a multitude of things.
Mhm.
With some grant money would help them make that purchase, make that change, whatever it is, to help their business.
Sure.
and
Sure.
and that's typically what the panel of judges likes to see as well.
Sure.
So
Yeah. Curt Homann, Executive Director of the DeWitt County Development Council, is our guest in studio here this morning. It has to be a DeWitt County business. Is that correct?
it actually does not.
Oh, okay.
So with the REV program, it has the vast majority of businesses have been DeWitt County businesses, but because First National Bank's involved in this one as well, there is a little circle that could include outside of DeWitt County.
Okay.
And there have been a couple winners in the past that have come from outside of DeWitt County,
Mhm.
but by and large, most of the grants have gone to DeWitt County businesses.
Yeah, sure. Where have some of these funds gone in the past? Who's benefited from
Yeah,
these?
actually, I'm glad you asked. I actually wrote down some notes so I wouldn't forget. But last year, Mariah's Mums was a recipient. Clinton Flower Corner,
Mhm.
Sweet Maze, and Jake's Candy Spot. And of course, Jake's Candy Spot was the youngest recipient that we ever had,
Mhm.
but he did a great job with this presentation, and as they all did.
Mhm. Mhm.
And all of those funds have been put to good use for sure.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. When it comes to that, once the application is in, and then that presentation, what are you looking for in that presentation that maybe the application didn't tell you?
You know, I think the best part is how thoroughly the business owner has thought through the process of what they need and how it's going to help their business,
Mhm.
and to be able to explain that.
Mhm.
So you have a panel of judges that maybe have very limited information,
Mhm.
and they want to hear exactly how this piece of equipment or how this money is going to help their business grow and expand. And if the business owner is unsure of that themselves,
Mhm.
they don't they really aren't going to have a real good shot at getting
Yeah.
getting some funds. So
So you want a
yeah,
good presentation too, and
you really do. And
yeah.
so I want people to make sure, when they get to that point, that they don't think, oh, well, I'm just going to go in and kind of wing it. They
Mhm.
really want to be prepared for that, because that goes a long way between getting zero funds. Just because someone makes that competition doesn't mean they get any money.
Mhm.
Getting zero funds to maybe getting a little bit to maybe getting more of their project funded. So for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Now, when it comes to the actual notification of these dollars, when does that take place?
Almost immediately after the presentation. So the judge panel in the past anyway has stayed while all those presentations are still fresh in their mind, and they make the decision on the disbursement, the dollar disbursement of each of those funds. And then typically the grant recipients are notified sometimes that night, but many times it's the following day.
Gotcha.
So
now, will this be like what, a Saturday or something like that?
No, it's actually November 9th, and I'm not sure what date that is.
Hey, we could just look at the calendar.
Sure
That's a Thursday.
So it would be a Thursday. There we go.
Okay.
And it's typically Thursday afternoon, and we decide later. And like I say, many times the folks are get a phone call later that evening, but I always throw out there, things happen. Many times it's the next day as well, but they know right away. It's not something that they have to wait for 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah. Now, who is on this panel of judges you're talking about?
So that's always decided prior to. So that's not decided yet.
Okay.
But it has always been, it's always been represented, at least the A1 representative for First National Bank. And it's always been multiple representatives from DeWitt County Development. And then if we need to go outside of that, we certainly can and have before if we needed to. So we could pull in, but we want to have a variety of judges, and so everyone brings a little bit different and hears something a little bit different, and those types of things. So it's not a huge judging panel. There has actually been discussion this year about live streaming those. I don't know that that's going to happen, but I wanted to warn people that is a possibility.
Yeah, definitely. I had something else and I cannot think of it, so I'll ask you this: what did I miss that you want to put out there about this process?
Yeah, I do want to mention, if it's this grant, it is not for operating expenses. It's not for emergency needs, those types of things, and so those types of things don't qualify. They're potentially, if you're in that situation, get a hold of me personally, and maybe there's some other things we can do, but this grant itself is not. So
this is to enhance a business.
This is to enhance a business for sure. And very typically what the judges have looked for in the past, again, is the money will be used for some type of tool, again, whether it's equipment, whether it's marketing, whether it's expansion, whatever it is, to help their business longer term.
Okay.
And the other thing, I guess the other thing I want to mention is realize the scope of the size. So if your business is looking at a $400,000 piece of equipment and is applying for a grant up to $15,000, of which that may get split. Typically the panel of judges doesn't like the fact that they're only funding
a very small fraction of it.
A very small fraction. So if someone is able to come up with $398,000, the $2,000 that the program would kick in probably isn't necessary.
Right.
Even if the project, we would wholeheartedly salute and encourage that project. This type of project, or this type of grant system really wouldn't. It's not something the judges have typically liked in the past.
And you're probably not going to see a small business making a $500,000 investment.
No, but there are, there's building rehabs or refurnishes. So we have seen those requests in the past where the overall project is $250,000. And I understand the situation because every dollar helps. However, we like to be able to fund a little bit more than a tiny fraction of it. Yes.
Yeah. You want to make it. Yeah, for sure. I understand what you're saying there. Again, where do folks go to apply for this, Curt?
Again, you're ultimately going to end up on the First National Bank and Trust website under REV Grant, and that's REV. But you can go to the DeWitt County Development Council Facebook page, and the link will be there. And I'll be updating some more posts here in the upcoming weeks as well to remind people.
And just remind us some important dates for this grant.
Yes, absolutely. September 15th is the absolute most important date. That is when the application is due. So again, 5-6 weeks from now. The presentations are November 9th, and you do have to be available November 9th. If you're not available to do a presentation, you won't get any funds. So those 2 dates are by critically absolutely the most important. But again, don't wait till September 12th to look at the application, because you want to spend a little bit of time with it. It's not hard, but you do want to spend some time with it, thinking about questions and answers.
All right, easy enough. Curt, let's take a time out here. Curt Homann, Executive Director of the DeWitt County Development Council, is our guest in studio. More to come with him on the WHOW Morning Show.
WHOW.
Farm Bureau membership.
Let's check the markets now on the RFD Radio Network. I'm Jim Taylor. Corn, beans, and wheat all trading higher at this hour. September corn up 4 1/4, 4.85. December new crop up a nickel, 4.98 1/2. March corn 5.11 1/2, up 4 1/4. August beans 14.34, up 5 1/4. September beans up 5 3/4, 13.87 3/4. November new crop 13.34, up 8 3/4. September wheat 6.45, up 18. December wheat up 16 1/2, 671 1/2. August bean meal 4.44 even, down 7.20. August bean oil unchanged, 66.99. Livestock market, August feeders 249.35, up $1.40. August live cattle 179.92, up $1.42. August lean hogs 101.15, up 15 cents. Energy market, September crude oil 81.81, up 26 cents. Look at the markets on the RFD Radio Network. I'm Jim Taylor.
Find out how you and your family can save up to 40% on the meat, produce, and grocery items you use every day by clicking the Clinton Save-A-Lot icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Peterson Insurance Services in Clinton is a 2014 Pekin Insurance Illinois Agency of the Year. Jay Peterson here from Peterson Insurance. Find out about Pekin's auto, home, or life insurance by clicking on our icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
If you're looking for a local, full or part-time job in Central Illinois, there's an easy place to go to find current job openings. It's IllinoisJobPost.com. That's IllinoisJobPost.com. You'll find jobs available near you. And the best part is that it's free for candidates to access 24/7. If you want a local job when you don't have to spend a lot of money on gas to get to, then you want access to IllinoisJobPost.com to check out current local job openings. That web address again is IllinoisJobPost.com. Another service from your friends at the Miller Media Group.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Curt Homann, Executive Director of the DeWitt County Development Council, is our guest in studio here for this morning. And Curt, we're talking REV Grant, of course, in that last segment. And those dates we'll throw out one more time as we wrap up here for this morning. But what are other ways the DCDC, whether it's you or like other agencies or businesses in town, give back to businesses through grants and stuff? What other opportunities are there?
I guess in terms of grants, I get certainly through the state of Illinois pretty regularly. I get grant information. I get requests, from businesses, and these are sent all throughout the state, of businesses that are potentially looking to Illinois. Those actually take up a lot of time. But grant requests come, I get notice of funding opportunities from, like Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity and other grant sources. So I try to, when I get those come in, I try to match up businesses that make sense for those. However, in some cases, I don't know what business plans are for every business in the community. So sometimes just letting me know helps me to find some of those funding resources out there. So sure.
Yeah. How do they get a hold of you for to inquire about some of that?
Yeah, absolutely. You can always reach out by phone, 935-5271. Again, message through Facebook, through our website. You can send an email or message that way. But I'll meet. In many cases, I'll just meet, and people will tell me a little bit about their business. And sometimes something just clicks. Oh, by the way, I met with someone else who can do what you need done,
right?
And I just need to connect people. But it's a busy. We do a lot with potential new businesses that I'll walk through business plans with them. Site selection is tricky. I don't always know about sites that are up and coming, but sometimes I do. So we can check on those, but I don't always have a magic hat to know, hey, here's what's going to be available in 6 months or 3 months, but sometimes I do. So we help in any way that we can help a business keep their doors open, expand their business, or start their business.
Yeah,
for sure.
Definitely. Just again, let's revisit the REV grant. We've got about 2 minutes here with you to wrap things up. Just again, the important dates on the REV grants.
First one, September 15th. But if you're considering the REV grant at all, go to the website right now and take a look at it. And then the second most important date is November 9th, which is when you would have to be available to give a live presentation if you're selected to present. So those two dates are of critical importance.
Is the application difficult? Like, would someone need to contact you for questions on that or anything?
I don't think so. They're welcome to do so, but I don't think it's overwhelmingly difficult. I do get a couple of questions typically a year, when they ask this question or whatever. But there's one question on there I love: what keeps you up at night? So it's things to make you think about your business. You really need to know about what you want to do with those funds. I mean, that's the most important. But no, it's not a difficult application by any means.
I see. Very good. Just again, the September 15th is the deadline, correct?
Correct.
November 9th is then the presentations.
Correct.
Where do folks go to apply?
Again, go to our DeWitt County Development Council's Facebook page. By the way, while you're there, like our page so you're going to get these notifications about other grants that come up. Follow the link to the First National Bank and Trust application page, and you can print the application. I think you can fill it out online, but certainly you can print it and get it submitted.
All right, very good. Again, about 1 minute here, Curt, with you. What I missed with you today, you want to put out for us? Anything we didn't get to?
No, I will say this: it's been a busy summer. DeWitt County really comes to life in the summertime, and we talked early in the summer about putting on our best foot forward for visitors that are coming to town and coming to the area. Whether it's the lake or different events, and obviously the fall events stay busy, but I get so many positive remarks about DeWitt County from outsiders, what I call outsiders they're visiting through here, that I want to thank everyone that does that. And it's the local people that make all that difference in the world.
For sure. Well, Curt, thanks for coming out with us and talking this morning. Again, that is Curt Homann, Executive Director of the DeWitt County Development Council, our guest in studio. Network news on the way on the WHOW Morning Show.
WHOW.